Hi, and welcome to Meet the Candidates 2018, a voter education program brought to you by the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. My name is Angie Whitcomb, and I am joined today by City Council candidate Brad McGarr. Brad, thanks for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't we start by having you tell the viewers at home a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I moved here with my family about 2 years ago. We originally lived in Colorado, and since then we've come to love the city of Shakopee. It's our new home, and we love everything about it. If you ask my 3-year-old daughter, despite being born in Denver, she insists she was born in Shakopee, and that's honestly just fine with us if she believes that. But we moved out here because I got a job transfer, and my wife works with Southwest Metro Intermediate School District. So we, come to be part of the community very quickly.
Right.
And before moving out here, I've been very involved in disaster response, citizen response, working with the American Red Cross, community emergency response teams, medical reserve corps, and volunteer fire departments in support functions. So I'm very familiar with serving my community, and this is just another way to do that on top of the stuff that I already do here locally with Metro Skywarn, helping keeping everyone safe from severe weather. So this is my first time running for a political office, but I'm not new to politics. I'm an alumni of Evergreen Boys State, which is a program run by the American Legion up in Washington State where I grew up. And so I'm familiar with how government works and how it should work, and sometimes how it doesn't always work out the way we want it to.
Well, thank you for being here, and welcome to Shakopee.
Yeah, thank you.
So to start this off, the first question, perception is that investors are pulling out of our community, pulling their projects out of our community, citing an instability and an unpredictability in city politics. How do we restore that predictability and stability so that investors will feel comfortable bringing their projects and their money here?
I think the thing that we need to focus on is making sure that we are presenting ahead of time what we as a city want and what our vision for the future is, and what the people of Shakopee want, what the businesses of Shakopee want, and what the volunteer organizations that really make the community come together, what we feel. And I think we've gotten kind of sidetracked in the last few years by some unfortunate events and some internal politicking that's caused developers and investors to kind of take a step back and rethink their investments. And I think if we can get beyond that internal fighting and internal disagreements, and even if we don't always agree on every subject, if we can make sure that we're doing so kindly and politely and debating the issues as they are, I think we can regain that trust of the community and of developers and investors.
Great. So you can't really have that conversation without having the conversation about tax increment financing. A lot of people hear the word, it's become the buzzword, but not everybody fully understands it. Can you explain to our viewers what tax increment financing is?
Sure, and it's one of those things that sounds differently in its name than it actually is. So in a nutshell, when someone applies for a TIF district, they draw a boundary around a specific area, usually including the project site and some adjacent properties, and they say tax revenue is X at this point. Everything that occurs after that goes towards the project. So if an area is bringing in, just say $500,000 a year in tax income, $501, that additional $1 goes towards the project. And it goes on for 25, 35, sometimes decades in length. So it's not something to play around with, but it can also be a very valuable tool in the tool chest of a city council when needed to be brought out.
When does it work?
I think it works best in situations where the economic benefit of the development is going to bring about a much larger change than the TIF district that's being assigned. So it has to really incorporate enhancing the entire city and bringing a benefit to everyone in the city, and not just a small corner, not just a small subdivision, but really emphasizing and bringing everyone some value.
Great. So being the Shakopee Chamber of Commerce, we are unapologetically pro-business and pro-Shakopee. How is your agenda pro-business, and how might that differ from others running for this seat?
So others may take a more strictly pro-business. I'm unapologetically pro-worker. But I look at it as businesses need workers, workers need businesses. We don't always see everything from the same point of view, but we have the same goals in mind. We both want to thrive. We want to see our businesses succeed. We want to see our workers succeed. And that's where my agenda comes differently from other people, as I'm coming at it from a larger, holistic point of view of we need to make sure the businesses can thrive, and we need to make sure that the workers can thrive. And by bringing everyone together and making sure everyone is successful, we can really see Shakopee become not just a bedroom community where people commute into the city, but its own entity where its own commerce and its own workforce is here in our community, and we actually have our own economy.
Great, thank you. So, for those of us who tune into the City Council meetings regularly, we often hear comparisons made of Shakopee to other communities. This community is trying this, or this community is doing that. What communities do you think that are out there are doing really well, and what lessons could we learn from them?
I think one that I have direct experience that maybe some other people don't is actually a town that I lived not too far from, Littleton, Colorado. Okay. Very similar in size, very similar in demographics. It's a suburban community on the outer edge of the Denver metro area, similar in population, similar type of downtown, right along the river, an old-fashioned storefront downtown, a lot of opportunities. And there are things that Littleton has done over the years that have really transformed their downtown, transformed their external business parks and their regional standing in ways that I think we can learn a lot from that. And I know other people may focus more on communities in Minnesota, but I think there's lessons that can be learned from places way away from here and things that we can bring in.
Great, thank you. So, my last question is twofold, and I'd like you to address our viewers with this. So what has been the greatest learning opportunity in your life up to this point, and how will you use that to make yourself, what about that makes you the best candidate for this role?
Certainly. So I think, and it may sound a little cliche, but the greatest learning opportunity that I've had in my lifetime is becoming a parent. I've got a 3-year-old daughter who is fiercely independent. She came when she wanted to. She came 2 months early. She does everything on her own schedule. She wants to be bigger than she is and more responsible than she is. And I think as someone going into politics, there is a lot to be taken aback from that. You have to learn compassion. You have to learn communication. You have to learn how to approach people on their level and from their point of view. I can't go to my daughter and explain the wonders of the world and the way things work in my terms. I have to use terminology that fits her and that she can understand. So I really think that being a parent has been probably the single most educating experience that I've ever had. Hands down.
And what makes you the best candidate for this role?
I think it's because I look at problems and solutions in a nutshell, in a big picture, and I look at what could go wrong, what could go right, and I want to make sure that I'm making the decision that is best for the people of Shakopee, the community as a whole, and not just little bits and pieces. I want to see everyone in this community, and I keep coming back to the word thrive. I want Shakopee to thrive. I want to see this community be a place that everyone can call home and people love to call home. My daughter comes across the 101 bridge every day after school and she says, "Look, Dada, it's my Shakopee." And I really want people to have that same experience coming into our city and going, "You're right, this is my Shakopee, this is my city, and this is a place that I have a part in."
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The views expressed in these interviews are those of the candidates and not of the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. The Chamber does not endorse any candidate but seeks to provide you, the citizens and voters of Shakopee, with adequate information to make an informed decision on November 6th.